Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Xbox channel. The final day of Gears Pro League 4 Split 2, day 10 to be specific. It all comes down to this, and first place is still in contention. United is there right now, but they can lose to the Pittsburgh Knights after tonight. More on that in a bit. I'm Taylor Reflections, double joined by Jacob MVP. Brother, it's been a long split, but a great split. Very competitive, especially for our top 5 teams, but today it all comes to a conclusion.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a test for some of these teams because it's not only for the last couple of placements that these guys can leapfrog each other for that extra bonus money, but these are the last moments to test the strategies, to test how far you've really came, and to see if you really are prepared to crown yourself as champion.
Got to be prepared, man. And I know there's several teams. Like I said, our top 5 teams literally want to be champions for the next major. And I think Latin America, very hungry this time around, but also poised to potentially win that championship. I got to say, NA Latin America looking more evenly based than it has in quite some time. Let's take a look at our results from yesterday, Jacob. It was 3-0s across the board. It made Colin hungry. All he saw in those zeros were donuts. He got his donuts this morning. But what do you think about everything that ended up taking place yesterday?
I mean, it shows that the elite teams, I should say, the elite teams, because that's what the left half of the side was. That is our elite style teams versus the right, barring, Team Queso and Fury One, who have been showing up in some of the beginning of these matchups. But they are coming here and ready to play. You only get these few moments. Scrims are one thing, Reflections, but E-Days, Pro League, that's not necessarily a test. It's not practice. But if you look at it from the outside in, that's where you really see where you match up against the best of the best. And you have to beat these teams towards the bottom end of the Pro League standings. That's what yesterday showed me.
Yeah, I continually quoted you yesterday. This is exactly what we need to see from Rise, Hive, Rebel, and Pittsburgh Knights, the teams that are in contention to win the championship. Look at the standings, though. It's getting quite interesting, especially at the top there. Pittsburgh Knights, United, obviously PK up there in the head-to-head. Winning tonight would absolutely solidify their first place position over EU. But we do have Rise, Rebel, and Pioneers. That's the big divide, right? 1 through 5, Jacob, and it's 6 through 10 are in a league of their own.
It's really kind of the top dogs really solidified a difference. 6 and 2 being number 5 Pioneers, and that's at the bottom half of those 6 and 2 teams. That is showing how tight that top half is actually stacked. A lot of these teams are beating each other in that paper rock scissors style matchup. Pittsburgh Knights taking out United, United beating Rise, Rise beating the Pioneer. It's just that circle of life, and only one of these teams at the end of the day will crown themselves champion during that major. So even if you falter today, you just have to be able to put your eyes set to that goal.
Absolutely, and the seedings do matter, especially heading into the next major, Jacob. So finishing up at the top echelon of the Pro League standings, well, it's going to make a difference, and it might make your road to champion that much easier to travel. Let's talk about our matches we have before us today. I think we only have 3 going down, so you're going to get to see them all. Fury One Esports going against Discipline, Pittsburgh Knights versus Pioneers, and then Rise versus Rebel. All interesting matchups for multiple different reasons. Fury One yesterday clearly had their struggles against Rise, to be expected. Discipline still without a win in Pro League, guys. We'll see if they finally get their first one, but the PK Pioneers obviously matters, right? And the reason why is because, well, Pittsburgh Knights are going for first place. So with that being said, Rise and Rebel will finish off the day. Jacob, anyone that you're particularly interested in?
I mean, I'm just excited for a lot of these matchups overall. That first one, Fury One and Discipline, people look at it and they don't think it's the best things out there. But Fury One, I feel like they need to come out of the gate swinging. And a lot of their matchups this split, they've won map number 1. They've shown they can compete until they kind of lose control and get down on themselves. In this matchup, they need to show that they are better than the bottom half of those brackets. They need to create that middle ground between them and those elite teams. But then that kind of warms us up. It prepares us for those last 2 matches of the day. Those were the ones I struggled to get my predictions in on.
Sure.
And those are the ones I think a lot of people will struggle right down the center of who to vote for.
Well, talking about voting, let's talk about at least our first matchup. Not predictions. Don't know why I segued like that, but either way, we have Fury One versus Discipline. I know you're ready. I am too. I think we know who we're going for, but regardless, though, let's give respect to both of the rosters. Fury One obviously had a tough matchup yesterday against Rise. Jacob, I can't lie. Fury One definitely struggled, but Discipline's also been struggling too. In fact, Discipline is a roster that is... let me not be too critical and too mean, but I
No, bro, they need to hear it this late in the season.
because
They need to hear it. Somebody needs to
okay,
say it.
then they've been non-existent. I just honestly, I had to
You
write
had to
down
be
the
that
roster
mean.
to be like, okay, this is who's competing today, because they haven't shown anything at all, one iota, that they belonged here in Pro League. And it's disappointing to say, it really is. I know they had struggles even from week one, Jacob, but Discipline has yet to get a win, and I don't see them. Well, I don't know. I mean, we haven't even really seen them that much, Jacob. So what's your thoughts on this series?
I mean, I think Discipline, they don't have that yellow school bus a lot of people have. They don't have that charter Greyhound bus. They just have that struggle bus. It's riding on 3 wheels. That fourth one's a little bit of flat tire. It's scraping. The muffler's about to fall off. There's no bumper at all. Half the wheels don't even scroll down. Discipline. Their name is ironic in itself because they just lack no discipline. It's hard. But I will say one thing. They're here. They earned that spot in the Pro League, and there's so many teams that they don't get the chance to say that.
That's a fact. I mean, you got to give respect. They are a pro caliber team. Let's take a look at our player to watch, Juhvon. Juhvon is a guy that's been competing for quite some time, and I've also seen him many times in the Challenger Series. Now he's finally here. Look at his control stats, though. Damage per 10 minutes. I actually can't believe my eyes. He is #1 in the league, Jacob.
Is
that not incredible? Like,
bro,
what?
That is surprising. How does he have more damage per 10 minutes? But at the same time, that just kind of shows that they're going ahead and taking teams by surprise in the early portions of the game.
Wow.
But then they just fall flat off that cliff.
Yeah, I mean, that is pretty telling. I mean, guys, he's beating Powers.
Though.
I mean, he's beating Powers. He's beating Monkeys. He's beating Detox, Avexies, any of the star-studded players that you can even, Identives, Demon, whoever you could think of, he's beating them all when it comes to his control stats, at least for damage per 10 minutes. So that is truly impressive, something that is eye-opening, that gives me faith that Discipline can put up a wonderful fight in this series. Juhvon is going to be the guy that I'm consistently going to be watching out for, Jacob. We're just going to have to see how well they play. Like I said, if there's any series that they can win, this would be one of them, right? When you're playing one of the bottom 5 teams, Fury won, taking a heavy loss yesterday. Don't know their mentality heading into the series, but Discipline can actually take advantage of that beatdown Rise gave them yesterday. Let's take a look at our maps and see which ones we're going to be having. And starting off is going to be Regency. Pretty much,
Oh, that's what I don't want to hear. Come on, tell me what else. Keep saying it to me. I just want to feel it through your voice. Regency was the worst pick. The map cycle, I don't want to see it for myself. My eyes are closed here. You can see that, but Regency was the worst pick because I feel like that's Fury 1's bread and butter at the beginning of the game. Don't tell me checkouts #2. Go ahead, tell me though.
Ephyra is #2.
Okay. What about #3? What about #3? What about
this is definitely different, Jacob. Training Grounds is #3.
Okay, we're liking it.
Okay.
What about #4?
And then we got District.
As long as it doesn't end in checkout.
It ends in Clocktower.
Oh my God, Discipline, you got a chance.
Really?
You got a chance. I give them a chance in my book. There's no checkout.
Sure.
I think that goes Fury 1.
Okay.
There's none of those brawl style there's no Vascar. There's no big brawl where Discipline can get lost in the sauce. I feel like this is their chance. And I'm being very hopeful.
Well, being hopeful, you know what? That's great. Let's talk about our predictions then. You saw the maps. Well, I guess you didn't see them. You had your eyes closed. Jacob, like I said, the most unique segment I've ever had for the Best of Fun, but it made it fun. So let's start off with you, brother. Who are you going to be predicting to win this one?
I think there is a fighting chance for Discipline in this one. I think they have what it takes, but Fury 1, they've been starting out the gate. Regency, map #1, that's the one map I didn't want to see start off this cycle because how well Fury 1 did. But I said Discipline, they have a chance.
Sure.
They have a snowball's chance in hell in this matchup.
Okay.
I'll tell you that. That's the chance they have. Fury 1 takes the series. They take it maybe 3-1. I think they have a chance to win one on the side of Discipline. Fury 1, I think, are going to continue to warm up. They're going to go into the major with the world on their shoulders here.
All right, I'm going with Fury 1 as well, Jacob. Just to cut to the chase, I think F1 is going to win this. I've been impressed with them throughout the season. They've been looking a bit lackadaisical as of recently, but you know what? I think they still got it within them to beat Discipline. Chat, who are you going for? Fury 1, Discipline. We going with the Tornado? I think so. I got that in my mind from from Colin yesterday, but there it is. Across the board, Fury 1, Discipline. It's up to you to prove us wrong. You know, it's funny. Teams that normally are winless find a way to win in the last day. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't know why that just occurs. But it usually does happen. Didn't happen to F9 and Split 1. Didn't happen to F9 and Split 1. But it could happen here with Discipline. And didn't happen with the People's Champs either. But it can happen with Discipline.
They have a decent cycle, right? Even though I didn't want to see checkout, I think if Discipline comes out of the gate, wins map number 1, they can either lose map number 2 and they can kind of have momentum in there. It just starts at map number 1, though. That's why I didn't want to see Regency first. Fury 1 knows exactly what they're doing in the picks and bans.
Yeah, well, Fury 1, they are the clear favorites when it comes to this series. Like I said, losing to Rise yesterday, but I think this is going to be a different story. Could it go the distance? Honestly, wouldn't surprise me if it does. But again, this would be more of a series that would prove that Fury 1 isn't in major form than it would be for Discipline being in major form. But Major's going to happen regardless. Not this weekend, but next weekend, guys. So it's coming up quick. So I expect to see the best of the best come out tonight between these two. We talked about Juhvon and his stats. Let's talk about F1, though. Aimboot, Last Move, Ventry, and Jaled. Any of those guys ring a bell, at least in terms of your mind of who stands out?
Ventry. I think Ventry stands out pretty well. And I feel like he's a good anchor for the team. Someone they can trust on to have a consistent style of play throughout it all. But I think they're just all really surprising. Like I said, they just need to come out of the gate, continue swinging on Regency. They need to close out Regency. And I think they have learned over the course of the weeks of the split to close out that map number 1 on Regency against some of these teams. They started off, I think, Pioneers very, very early on in the split. So I think they have what it takes. I think it's carrying that momentum, having enough gas left in the tank to have that style of play throughout the course of the series. And going into the major one step before, I think this is the perfect opportunity to test things, to go ahead and test how to extend that gas in the tank to outlast your opponent throughout 5 maps. Even though I want to see Fury 1 end it in a 3-0 fashion, to go ahead and continue that trend of dominance between the teams and create that separation. But for Discipline going into the major, they want to make the same noise on their side.
They definitely do. I think, the only thing for Discipline is they know they can't avoid relegation at this point. They haven't won a single map, or excuse me, a single series. I have to take a look if they won a map. I'm pretty sure they've won maps. Like, surely they have, right? I'll go to... They haven't won a map, actually. That's tough. And I didn't mean to point that out. That wasn't a dig at them. I just genuinely didn't know. But no, they're 0-24. So let's see. You don't laugh, but I just want to see if they do win a map tonight.
It's just, you don't mean to point it out, because at the same time as they're on the bottom of the league right now, they are flat out without a single win in terms of series wins. We don't expect the team to go winless in terms of maps. You know what I mean? That's not something you don't expect, especially since they did fight and they did earn their spot here to be in the Pro League. And like I said to start the show, not very many teams can see it, let alone individual players.
Yeah, well, let's get into it. Regency, map number 1 between Fury 1 and Discipline. This is going to be, honestly, I feel in my bones, man. I think it's going to be a good matchup. I really do. I really, really do. Definitely not going to see 3-0s across the board, whether it be this series or other series. We're going to have some good series tonight, guys. Yesterday was pretty crazy to see all those 3-0s. Even on Side Station was a 3-0 Rebel winning, but and I think they beat Discipline. But here we go. We got map number 1, Regency, Fury 1, and Discipline. Let's get into it, Jacob.
Right into the mix. Gimmo, I hear you guys putting a lot of noise behind his name for Discipline. You see the flashes going in. They're starting out with that pre-fire damage. The thing is, they're letting these players recover that health. They're trying to extend and catch somebody from Fury 1 out of position, but I don't think anybody from Fury 1 is going to make that mistake. So Discipline, they have to make the perfect play. It starts with a flash just like that to get Last Move out of position, but nobody is taking advantage. Fury 1 doing a good job of holding the line.
All right, holding the line like you said. Last Move dancing around. Gimmo will drop right in front. Tatis tries to go in and pick him up, but not going to be able to. Inovates also falls. Juhvon, the stat leader for damage when it comes to 10 minutes in control for all of the league, will fall early on. Jaled will open up the at least the beginning portion of this Regency. He's currently 4-0. Gimmo holding on tight to the M-bar. Aimboot, though, not feeling the pressure, not feeling scared whatsoever. Good shot into Gimmo, but can't follow it up. Gimmo will hold his ground. 4 more shots and M-bar remain.
Our shot's going to be very, very crucial for the success of Discipline. We've seen teams with weapon after weapon in their control, but not put it to effective use, and they're always behind their opponents, or at least one step behind. But Gimmo, we're talking about connecting on the enemy team this time around, but at least he's warming up, and that's exactly what you need to find, that silver lining. Glass half full, but Gimmo goes down. Inovates, the last straw. He needs to figure out a way to at least take one if he's going to go down, but Ventry gets the down. Last move's going to clean that one up. Discipline, back to start. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200, but you can rotate around. You might be able to collect that shock if it's up. You go ahead and make one push to break through, because I think Discipline, they're going to have one great team push and then get desperate afterwards.
Well, we'll definitely see if they do get desperate. That team kill was not what you needed to see. Shock in hand of Aimboot. That's going to be fantastic. Place it on the right side. You should have him trapped. That's going to drop one. The other Gimmo is going to be at least separated from his team now. Isolated. Aimboot's going to pepper him up. Gimmo will fall. Inovates dead. Juhvon forced to back up. Fury 1 still without a single point. Or excuse me, Discipline, my apologies, without a single point. Ventry at least gets the drop on Tatis, and Jaled's looking to make a move on the nade. So a lot of moving pieces for Fury 1, but they're in all the right places. And Discipline still struggling to get to the hill. They do have 3 points tick over, Jacob, but that's going to be it. And they're even going to waste more time because they're going to wait for the M bar, which still has 15 seconds on.
I like at this point in time waiting for that M bar, but I thought they were going to have at least a team push. They look like 3 individuals with Inovates around the map, but Inovates here controlling last move, making the team fight a 3v3. And if you look at your mini-map, that separation is there for them to try to get that elimination. It's not necessarily for the hill, as the trade's going to come through. Tatis gets flanked. Gimmo climbs up and lines one up with that M bar. It's already put into use. We talk about the effectiveness. Just been unable to put it to effective use so far, but the trades continue. In fact, it's going to go in favor of Fury 1. They take out Gimmo. They take out that M bar, but Inovates finding those frag grenades. They need to have effective use. I keep saying it every single time because even players on the teams like Rise, even our top teams and our top players are having the same mistakes happen to them. So a team like Discipline, you got to put it together.
All right, 4-man push for Discipline. Like you mentioned, those nades, will they be useful this time around? Inovate's got it in his hand. Surely he's going to throw it out relatively soon, maybe to boot, or at least to get Aimboot out of the way. Jaled, though, in last move, ready to push in. We do see the nade still in Inovate's hand. I think one was thrown, but Aimboot is, in fact, going to die off. So Discipline will finally have control of this hill in P3, but just on the outside looking in is going to be Fury 1. Jacob ready to push through. You got Ventry keeping player 7 in check. And then you also have Aimboot who's going to be on the flank. Has he been spotted? I don't think so.
Pristine setups of Fury 1 on defense. Now you see him kind of picking apart the defense of Discipline when they're forced to be on offense. A couple downs coming through. There goes last move, being that anchor towards the backline. Dodging the first flash, or say frag grenade, but it's Gimmo who takes out last move. But it's just that ring around the rosy. Fury 1 said, go ahead. You can go ahead and take that position because we're going to slide right into the hill and start to collect that score line once again with less than 20 seconds left. That's just scrap time. Fury 1, they have an exit towards the low side. They can go ahead and maneuver around the map towards the top middle, but they want to solidify these eliminations first. And they even force a team kill out of Tatis, who finally gets one on the Ventry. As you see Aimboot knowing that exit is behind him. Everybody rotating towards the top half of the map. And that's what's perfect right now about Fury 1. They're taking exactly what they want, and they're only giving up to Discipline what they have left over.
What they have left over, 127 to 38. Things could get out of control shortly for Discipline if they don't start stepping up shortly, but already things are looking against them and looking grim. Last move, shock in hand, and you got Discipline ready to make a full frontal push. But that shock is definitely going to stop them in their tracks. Plus, not to mention, the M-bar does get out with Jaled. He's going to be looking straight at Tatis and co, who's going to be up ahead. Discipline still not making a move, Jacob. In fact, they're making a rotation to the backside of things, but maybe the right play. I don't know. They do take down Aimboot, but they've still yet to even try to get on the hill, and already 25 seconds has passed.
I feel like calling right now because right now their time is just ticking down without an opportunity. Finally, they make that push, but they get separated by a shot. Gimmo goes down, Inovates just get banished off the map by Jaled, and Ventry cleans up one. All that time made to try to make that perfect push, and it just gets diminished right before our very eyes. Fury 1, that's why I say when it comes to Regency, they do their homework. So against these top teams, even though I think a lot of battles do go down at Regency, during that major, you might see this map kind of get banned and made, tossed towards the side against a team like Fury 1.
Out to be at the 200 mark for Fury 1. Ventry getting those, or getting the shock once again. I think he's had it just about every single time. Good snuff shots. Inovates does drop. The Gimmo's there for the pickup, but second drop now for Inovates, and there's the third. Down and out. Couldn't get him up in time. Gimmo, watch your head. Jaled is ready to take it off. Meanwhile, Fury 1 will be making a full push in. Gimmo trying to hold his ground as much as he possibly can, but hand in the face. That gives an opening for Fury 1 to take him down. He will fall, and Discipline's early rotation now will fall before it even got started. Juhvon also dead and out of the way. Fury 1 effectively breaking 200 as Discipline has yet to even get to 40.
You just see it, like, it's the irony in their name. It's just a lack of discipline. Players just overextending when they shouldn't be. Players just in a bad spot. Everybody kind of not following suit in the damage. too many shotguns out at time. It just looks like they don't have anybody to lean on. An IGL, a coach, somebody to kind of trust and respect to make the right calls. But they have an opportunity to create a sandwich here on two different sides of the map. But Tatis just walks right into last move. Inovates just gets taken down. That puts the pressure on the last two members. You know exactly where they're coming from. All the funnel is going to be there as the shots over the top. Jaled goes down. Revive is in place, but a couple of misroads out of Juhvon and Gimmo. They get taken down of Bleak and I. Fury won, making this matchup look absolutely easy. Getting that second M-bar in hands, and if last move is a little caring, he could be sharing and give some of that M-bar ammo out over to Jaled.
Well,
they're gonna do just that. Look at that. Here you go.
There it is. Hey, Jacob, you're a wizard. All right, you know you know what's taking place, baby. Now they got two for the price of one. Okay, nice body shot in the back, but well, that's going to be an even better shot from last move, taking down Tatis with the head. But we will continue to push up for Fury 1, who can win off of this next hill if they can take it right off the rip. And those M-bars are singing a tune that Discipline hates to hear. But even if they cover their ears, they're still listening, brother, because their heads are getting blown off. So now you got Jaled inside the hill. Fury 1, like I said, can win off of this. They just need less than 60 points, and they've got 75.
They have ears on their head. They're hearing. I don't think they're listening. I don't think they're listening at all. Look, they're just getting picked off in the middle of the map yet again by Aimboot, who finds Tatis out. And look, they're going to take another battle right there against Inovates. He can't push up. Inovates, they're going to have to try to catch him off guard, but as soon as he sees two, he's going to back up. Gimmo from one side. You saw Inovates getting taken out by Aimboot. A trade towards the middle, but all the trades are still favoring Fury 1. They're just going ahead and learn him, and they're just making a line of treats for Discipline, and Discipline is just eating those treats. They're just following line. They just don't know where they're going. They're just getting trapped up, though.
Well, got 15 seconds left for Fury 1 to win this one. Discipline, the last hoorah, is going to push a great shock. And I got to say that Fury 1 has been placing shocks very well. Been impressed with that, honestly. And player 6 might be able to get a touch. Inovates will touch at 295 to 38. Fury 1 looking to hit the cleanups. One by one, Discipline falls. Ventry gets the maybe not hold up. Will the series continue? Will the round continue? Excuse me. Yes, it will. Discipline stays alive. Well done. I like the fact that they're fighting till the very end.
Yeah, stays alive, but now they have to figure out a way to thrive here in this situation. And then 5 seconds left with 10 seconds left to go. Look, it's like a stampede, and he has to stay and defend the hill. Gimmo has no choice. He needs to buy 2 more seconds. Gimmo goes down. 5 seconds in the hill. It is definitely winnable with no one in sight. Fury 1 sneaked that one away towards the backside, but it was not a sneaky game at all. They proved their dominance from start to finish to take map number 1.
Yeah, they definitely took map number 1. Aimboot, 19 assists. Well done. Mind you, that entire map was only 9 minutes, just over 9 minutes, in fact. Very quick, very quick. You know, not a lot to say, really. Aside from Fury 1, I think they played that map very well. I like that they took this this first map, anyways, very seriously. You could tell they weren't pumping the brakes at all, Jacob. They were prioritizing the shocks. I love their shock usage. That's something that I think was very unique about this map specifically. Those shocks were capitalizing in multiple times, whether it be that second hill, we saw a beautiful shock at the right side that ended up separating the forces of Discipline, and even, in fact, even up dropping one. We saw that take place on multiple other hills. The nades didn't have too much of an effect, at least from my eyes, Jacob. I know you're more critical on that, but then the M-bar was also fantastic. I don't think, aside from one set of grenades, Discipline had anything other than that M-bar at the beginning, which ended up in a team kill. So I don't think Discipline got any of the weapons or anything like that on the map, if I'm not mistaken, other than one set of nades and one M-bar.
They just, I'm gonna say 2 things here, and realistically, they just had no discipline to kind of put it short. But you saw at the end, you kind of broke it down, the shock usage, right? Shock grenades spawn up every 90 seconds. That's about a minute and a half. That's more than one hill. It forces a rotation. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? I'm not wrong, so you don't have to correct me.
Okay, go on.
2 shock grenades thrown at the end of that map. Right. 5 Fury 1 to block out the hill, which shows to me Discipline did not make a coordinated team push good enough. They forced not one, not any shock grenades out for over a minute and a half. You don't do that. That's not how you win games. And to me, that hope I had at the beginning of the series, there's a chance, a snowball's chance in hell, that snowball melted in round number 1. This is 3-0. Hopefully Colin has some donuts left to go around. Well,
first off, no, Colin is definitely not going to have any donuts left, okay? He bought that whole box. That box was gone by morning time, and it was still morning time when he bought them, okay? and I say that, I can't say that because I'm fat too, all right? And I go and I eat all my donuts too. If I buy a dozen or a baker's dozen or 2 dozen, I'm gonna devour. And you too, AC. And this is the thing, man. When if we ever do an in studio event, or we're ever in person in general, and we get some donuts, you know you got to go grab them before everybody else does because they're gonna be devoured. But enough about donuts. I'm looking at the stats. Tatis went 5 and 10. Juhvon went 3 and 10. Gimmo went 3 and 11. Inovates went 6 and 12. These are stats that just quite simply can't happen. Jaled, though, let's give him credit. He went 13 and 3, and then Aimboot with those 19 assists. We saw him MVP at the very end of that. You know, it pains me to be so critical about discipline. They understand their struggles. They know this hasn't been a good pro league split for them. They just got to get through, you know, this series, and that's going to be it. But you know, this roster is, like Colin said in chat, man, they've been going through it. They've been going through it all split, Jacob.
What you said right there just kind of makes me laugh. They just got to get through the series, and that's kind of it. But just, you didn't say they got to get out through with a victory. And the thing right now about Fury 1 going against a team that doesn't have any wins so far, not even map victories, that you got to give them so much more respect that I think anybody would really notice here. As you kind of said, they just made it short and sweet. They were focused on business. It's so easy to get lost in the sauce against a team like Discipline, who gives you opportunity after opportunity to have random shoddy battles across the map, to turn it into a slugfest, blow for blow. Even if you do have the lead, somebody's kind of anchoring, doing all the hill work for you. You can kind of have that fun. No, Fury 1 was just straight up business. They wanted this one to end quickly because they wanted to prove they are in tournament mode. And that's something that doesn't go unnoticed from someone like me. You got to respect the hunger that these young guns are bringing to the table.
You have to. Yeah, and you have to, especially now getting this close to the major. So this is a big deal. So Discipline, let's talk about Ephyra. Map number 2 that's coming up. Discipline's going into it. This is, in my opinion, by far their best execution map. And I say that because there was a great series early on in the split where they had to play against E-United. Ephyra, E-United that's one of their best maps that they love to play on. They just do. And they've done so good on that map. You know, they have taken some losses, but you know what? For the most part, they're very consistent. And we saw Discipline go to a round number 9. It was 3-6. They did take the L. They did lose, but that was the map where we saw Inovates truly pop off. He ended up going 7 and 7. He had 8,300 damage. He had 1 first blood. Juhvon had 3 to his name. So I'm looking at Juhvon and Inovates to truly carry the torch. Fury 1, you know, I'm going to say it just how it is going to have their hands full on this map. But if they could get through this map moving into training grounds, they could 3-0 it. But this is going to be a tough one. This is where Discipline plays really well, Jacob.
This is going to be the map where I want to see just Discipline just bum rush everywhere. Take that tornado that Fury 1's logo is and turn it into your game strategy, because I think Fury 1, they can outthink you. They may not be able to kind of maneuver you in certain aspects, but they will go blow for blow. Gimmo is going to be down low versus Ventry in that 1v1. He's actually going to go ahead and try to rotate around. Ventry makes that first blood play along with Jaled, giving up that torque bow on over to Gimmo. Inovates. They can easily converge. They're going to take out Juhvon there, and just one by one, the players of Discipline begin to fall.
Well done, though. That was a good push from Fury 1 to not get overzealous, not push Inovates, who hit at one of the players on F1 with an absolute apartment complex. Torpo not going to have an effect, and that's going to be a flawless round 1 or the side of Fury 1, Jacob. Anything to take away from Discipline, what they can maybe capitalize on heading into round 2?
I just feel like they're just going with the motions. They're still not like playing to win here in this situation in any way, shape, or form. You'd think after that map number 1 beatdown, somebody would be antsy to push for one of these power weapons. Somebody would be antsy to make a change. And Discipline, they're just content playing in the pro league.
Enemy mark.
I want to see change.
Gotta see change. Gotta see change, absolutely. So let's go ahead and go into round number 2. Jaled opposite of Tatis, who is not pushing up. Jaled's got a very good foothold, at least on this middle pillar. Aimboot, though, taking matters into his own hands, going to push up. Juhvon could help him out, but Inovates actually backs up. Last move, also pushing up, so we have a scrappy 2v2. Inovates will fall, and so will another on Fury 1. So it's going to be a 3v3. Back to a 1v1 between Aimboot and Juhvon for the drop.
Just trying to get position, but I like what Juhvon's doing out there, just trying to take as much of that position, shut him out as possible, but he takes too much damage, gets overzealous. That puts pressure on to Tatis, and he gets taken out. Gimmo down low. He was trying to back up. He was trying to let his team make the play, but that's the same thing that's going to be the thorn in the side. 3v1, too much to overcome. He goes down. Fury won 2 straight rounds in a row. I don't know what it's going to take. Somebody better call the hotel and give them a wake-up call.
Well, I would like to see Tatis push Hotel a little bit more aggressively, you know, flex his muscles a bit, slay out. It's what you have to do, you know, even if you're not having the best of series, you're not having the best of maps. He isn't taking the initiative to push Hotel. Why is that fight? Why am I focused on that fight, right? Well, if he wins that, he could then double down to Torquebo and then get assistance over towards, you know, his partner of Gimmo, and then they can bully out player 7 Ventry, right? Bring that Torquebo fight into a 2v1. But Tatis doesn't take the fight. He now backs up once again, and he just doesn't want to take initiative. Juhvon will take that one, takes down the second, and new life from Discipline as Tatis will also finally back up into the fight of Jaled and getting the kill, now leaving Ventry by himself, and it's looking like a victorious rounds number 3 for Discipline as long as they can just isolate Ventry and get him out of the way, which looks like he doesn't have a leg to stand on. He's going to be finished off. Well done. Juhvon gets 3 that round.
Love it. I love the effort in that round. Play like you want to be here. Not that you deserve to be here, but you actually want to be here. You know what it takes to get to this level. And I can tell you, Reflections, after those first 2 rounds, it definitely was not that. They're getting a little more active here in that 3rd round. I'm hoping to see more proactivity when it comes to this 4th round as well. Overcharge that drop shot outside. Get it into the hands of one of your superstars. And this is where you see same mirroring strats, but it's going to be Tatis pushing up yet again. One of the players we saw in that last round begin to make the moves against Jaled. He's doing it again to start off this one as well.
Ooh, big Lancer battle. Aimboot sees the opportunity. Will rock back Inovates, taking him down. Tatis, though, takes matters to his own hand, gets a trade. Discipline down 1 member, but that could change as Juhvon maybe had a chance to pick up Aimboot there, but it doesn't happen. And a swift answer in round number 4 to bring it 3-1 in favor of Fury 1.
At least they tried. At least they pushed them.
They did, and you know what? I'm fine with that. I really am.
That's all I want to ask. I'm not sitting here wanting to beat them down, but I know these guys have passion. I know these guys kind of feel like they deserve to be here. I just need to see that in their gameplay. I need to see them at least trying everything that they can instead of slowly getting toppled over by an avalanche. So this round's gonna be another one of those where Tatis pushes up yet again. And floating over towards those middle steps, getting easy rotation. Jaled gets that first shot put on him, forcing him back as Tatis. He's holding that middle ground, but players towards the outside are to be the ones making the move. Aimbot in last move, they get that one, but Gimmo gets that kill towards Ventry at the bottom, gets that Torquebo, and that's gonna be the first power weapon in play.
Ooh, Jaled, you gotta be careful there. Tatis had an opportunity maybe to snub you out, Lancer you. You were in no man's land and you were not getting help over in Hotel. Aimboot will knock down Inovates 3v2. Gimmo, though, with the Torquebo. I think first time we've at least seen him have a chance to really rock it, other than I think round 1, if I'm not mistaken, but it didn't have really much effect. Tatis 1v2. He's going to get pincered in, and Gimmo will fall right after that. And that's going to be 4-1 for Fury 1. You know, honestly, there's an opportunity for Tatis to maybe capitalize on Hotel. That has been stalemated for quite a bit. Every time I look at it, I swear it's being stalemated. Why not cut down left side, help your teammate isolate that one player from Fury 1 on the Torquebo side, and just at least, you know, consolidate and get that first blood. Let's see if Tatis makes a bit of an adjustment here.
I like that idea. Go ahead and use your positioning to somehow affect elsewhere. Or you could fake it out. Get Jaled to go ahead and show himself a little bit too much here, especially in that position here. But Jaled with the right hand, he's going to have a little bit of advantage. Tatis getting crossed from outside. That's going to be last move. Going ahead and ending Tatis, giving the 1-up go-ahead. But Juhvon winning that big battle towards the drop shot. Inovates dropping down is not going to let Juhvon pick up the drop shot. In fact, it's going to be the thorn in his side. Last move with the quick moves to go ahead and find that elimination and the drop shot. Gimmo is going to have to find some success here like he did last round, but he's going to get taken down. Fury 1. 5-1, 1 round away from going up 2-0.
1 round away, 2-0. You're right. This has been a dominant series on them, but again, a great answer back from last time. Inovates currently no kills. Does have the 2 assists though, so he's at least outputting that damage, but definitely not providing a benefit in the lane that he's currently in. Last move, great game for him. He's got 8 kills to his name. Discipline, a long mountain to climb, but they must climb it, Jacob. They've got to try and come back.
Let's see what we can do, Tatis. I like the effort. Shout out for giving this coverage. Nice shot grenade towards the outside. They're trying to swarm in towards that position. They know they're not going to be able to pick up that drop shot because they have the angle to the middle. Two players getting a drop. That's both last move and Jaled getting taken out. But great shots from Aimboot over the top. But he finally meets his match. That numbers game is just too much. Ventry gets taken down by Tatis. Discipline once again. They show life and show why they qualified for the Pro League. But sometimes winning that first map is always the hardest.
I thought I saw Tatis giving a little extra love before that shot. Like he didn't fully commit to it, but it seemed like it. That was interesting to see. But you know what? Maybe he's getting some fire lit underneath him. Sometimes all it takes is one round like that to say, you know what? We can win this. We can come back. Fury won. One round away doesn't mean they've got the victory just yet. They still have to close it out. Discipline, start to snowball this lead or start to snowball off that round. Jaled get very aggressive. Hey, and see, showing the love again. I'm telling you, Tatis showed love in that last round, and Jaled said, okay, that's fine. You want to play that game? I'm going to give it right back to you. He pushed immediately into Tatis, got the chunk, and then immediately started to hump. All right, beautiful stuff from him. That's how you answer back when you are dominating a team as you just did 6-2, and then they want to hump on you? No, you go back and you do it to them. 6-2 victory. Fury 1 up 2-0 over Discipline. And I gotta say, they are looking good doing it. Fury 1, man, have had their struggles without question, but this series, they're not having any struggles. And they're not playing around. Last move, well done. 10 kills, 3 assists. He also had that first blood. Hey, it's been an exciting series for Fury 1. Let's see how map number 3 is gonna work. It's gonna be Training Grounds Escalation coming up after the break. Welcome back, everybody, to the last day of Gears Pro League Split 2. I'm Taylor Reflections, double joined by Jacob. MVPR 2 maps down. Fury 1 leads the way after Regency victory 300-53 and Ephyra 6-2. Things are not looking good for Discipline, who needs to start stepping it up. And I thought there was going to be some times in there, Jacob. I did with, Tatis doing his thing. And then you also had a couple of rounds, literally 2 rounds that went to the way of Discipline, but couldn't get the ball rolling enough, it seems.
Yeah, I couldn't get the ball rolling, and in fact, I don't even think the ball was inflated at all. You know when you enter the school ground when you're like in 6th grade in elementary, you get stuck with a little half flat ball and you try to bounce it and it barely comes back up. You can't do nothing. Yeah, that's what Discipline's been practicing with right now, and that's probably why the score is. They're at a little bit of a handicap. They're probably playing 3v4s in scrims. They're probably playing the wrong. All jokes aside, though, Discipline, they're so talented, right? They are so talented as individuals, but I've always said it. You can have 5 of the best superstars, in some cases 4 when it comes to Gears of War. I'd say 5 because of the coach. But you can have 5 of the best people creating a one team, and things kind of just not work out because it's not the right team. The chemistry isn't there. Comms, there's just so many things that don't show up on a stat sheet, so many different variables when creating that perfect roster. Discipline has already proved they can be in towards the Pro League, but they need to prove they can stay in the Pro League. And I think relegation is going to prove that, but they have to prove to themselves right before the major as well.
And I just want to take a little bit of a pause. A side note, we are loading into Training Grounds, but I saw something in chat that I didn't address at the beginning. I apologize for that. Hive and E United, they were slotted to play today. Hive ultimately ended up forfeiting to E United. Tody had to do some personal things. The sub couldn't play, unfortunately, because of that. They had to forfeit. So Hive, E United obviously will not be taking place today. EU automatically gets that W.
What? Y'all needed a sub?
Jacob, no,
y'all don't know Gears Esports official sub over here.
Every broadcast.
You telling me I taught Powers, I taught Dyslexic. I could have taught them again today. So they dodged the bullet. Let's just say that.
You taught Dyslexic?
Dodged the bullet. I taught Dyslexic. I'm bilingual sometimes, not all the time.
Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. Hey, honestly, I feel that. I feel like I'm bilingual too. It's just I speak nonsense while you speak Spanish and English. I have nonsense in English. You have Spanish and English, so I think you're more educated than me. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Hey.
What?
The base went down, hopping over that cover, man. A little overzealous to start the game, but that's a team, man. You gotta have high hopes. You gotta have high dreams. Gimmo gets 2 after getting revived back up. Finally, his run ends by last move, but Juhvon is doing all he can. Our player to watch. And you talk about damage for 10 minutes. It's because initial openings like that, even though he did get taken out by Ventry. But Ventry, with a smart head on his shoulders, rotating from B all the way to the top side of the map. Go ahead and infect that one, but 2 big fights.
No way he gets away. I was about to say, man, if he doesn't die here, if that man does not die, Well done for Discipline. They take a little bit of an L off the rip, obviously on that overlooked fight, but also on the neutral. Now they are striking back. They have the 2-1, and they should overcome this minor deficit that they currently have. Last move will catch Gimmo slipping a bit, but Gimmo's back in God spot. Last move really can't do anything about it unless he gets overzealous and, well, decides to go around. But you're not going to see that happen. Right now, the main focus for Fury 1 Jacob seems to be keeping Discipline caught up in overlook until they make a move.
One. No advantage, Discipline, no matter what goes down here. There's no weapon. There's no reason to get taken down, but I don't think Tatis got the memo. That's going to leave Inovates susceptible for this 2v1 between Ventry and Jaled. Possibly a 3v1, but the shots are coming in over the top. Inovates just has to get the chunk, but he only gets downs. He's going to lose his footing and losing the home hill. That goes 2-1, back on over to Fury 1, and they're not too far behind, so it's not going to take long before they take that lead right back.
Yeah, the lead is, in fact, going to be back into their hands. Now, if they can just stop the push over on C, you know, Fury 1 could be in good hands. Discipline, though, can easily recover this moment, and in fact, they will. They still have the point lead, and they get their home hill back. Would have liked to see Fury 1 make an adjustment, maybe focus more onto the neutral and have more of a controlled pacing, but even so, we see Discipline just now getting their home hill back, but Fury 1 doesn't make a move on either hill, which means Discipline, they're going to be sitting pretty. If it stays this way, they'll win in just about 30 seconds, so Fury 1 is forced to make a move. And if they fail that move, Jacob, with Training Grounds being as big as it is, it could be all she wrote. Gimmo, a good kill potential. If he takes down Jaled here, that's huge. He makes it happen. But now he's got to focus on last move, and last move will drop. This is a Discipline round.
Should be able to close it out no matter what happens here, but I don't want to call it too early. I've seen worse things happen. Those are going to continue to switch. Discipline, they're getting the home hill. Big battle between Jaled. I do believe that's going to be Gimmo. Aimboot in a 1v2 situation. He's going to get taken down on that neutral. And I think that battle right there solidifies a round number 1 victory for Discipline, who come out the gate swinging. And I absolutely love it. After losing the first 2 maps in a wide margin where it wasn't even close, they are not giving up. And that's why I said these guys are passionate. I just need to see that be reflected in their game plan.
Yeah, I mean, that fight was literally everything. Jaled, if he wins that B fight, there's a chance Fury 1 sweeps the rug from underneath the feet of Discipline. But either way, that round was incredibly close. And I must say, that's a pretty big positive for Discipline because they have struggled in the first 2 maps of Regency and Ephyra. But the fact that they win round 1 gives me hope that this map here could be one that they could take the distance and maybe even win, guys. Discipline hasn't won a map in all of Pro League for Split 2. This would be a big moment for them and could snowball them to finally feel confident enough to say, okay, we can close out the series. But what a powerful start for Fury 1. 3 members down off the rip. And now the only loose end to tie up is going to be Inovates, who's currently pushing over on the opposite side of the map.
Inovates just backing down out of that position. I like it. As much as making me laugh a little bit, he just knows that the longer he brings these players towards the backside of the map, his teammates have an advantage elsewhere on the map, and I'm just hoping they don't squander that opportunity as he's doing everything he can. He's going to drop. Juhvon gets saved for now, but Gimmo gets that elimination, and we're going to get that neutral hill underneath their control, but last move won a big 1v1. They captured that hill, so their work is not over just yet. 3v1. The angles are in play from Fury 1 as these players, they're pushing forward, knowing their players are going to spawn up on their teammates to go ahead and be the reinforcements they need as they're playing this one perfect.
Look out!
Well, Discipline, though, does get 2 members down. Aimboot, though, from the flank. Oh, you got to get that finish. And could have been a 1v1. Now it's going to be a 1v2. And he will fall in that moment. I bet you he's wishing he could take that moment back, Jacob, where maybe if he pushed up just a little bit more, he gets the chunk on the down player and then focuses on the 1v1. But ultimately, that's not how that played out. Discipline, this would be a big comeback. Already, you know, a bit of a deficit. It's not too crazy. They still have the win condition, Jacob. But I mean, the fact that this start was so explosive for Fury 1 gives Discipline an opportunity maybe to catch up here. And who knows, maybe Discipline could be a team that's more comfortable with the long extended game as Fury 1 just wants to finish it as quickly as they can.
This could be success. Oh my god, he gets caught over the top of great Boltog shots. Everybody just firing all cylinders for Fury 1. Inovates unable to even get that elimination. cookies are crumbling for Discipline, and they're not looking good anymore as B is under siege. A is already being decapped. They're trying to go ahead and do something for Discipline to get C underneath their control, which is the home hill of Fury 1. They're just going to back down for just a moment, but they're not backing down all the way, Perplexes, because they know they want to wait for that perfect moment to strike. When somebody takes too much damage, somebody oversteps out of rotation, that's when they're going to go.
Beautiful two-piece from Ventry. I was wanting to see how that played out. You know, while you were talking there, Jacob, I had a chance to look at the mini-map, and I was just looking at players literally covering every square inch of this map. I was like, wow, they're everywhere. And I was more so looking at Discipline. It was a very unique rotation over towards the home hill of Fury 1 for Discipline. That was with Tatis and Gimmo. They literally overextended all the way from B down the alleyway over toward the home hill of Fury 1. You don't see an overextension like that as long as that takes. Normally you see home to home gone through Overlook, but I mean, Discipline was literally all over the map, and Fury 1 was kind of matching them, but that was a round that just came strictly down to kills and more so than it did like objective play.
Yeah, I think I like that. I think I like that, especially when some of those kills on the side of Discipline at the very least. Like I said, these players are going deep into their enemy team spawn, drawing 2 players back, but I think they're just missing some coordinated efforts between each other to go ahead and take full advantage of those opportunities. And I think, you know, this being the last one right before that major, like I always say, for a lot of these teams, split 1 is that learning split. They might have to go through relegation, but if they find their way back here, I think they're going to put up a little bit more of a fight.
All right, the battle for the neutral is in Ventry, opposite of Inovates. Obviously, the Overlook fight has been popping off, and Fury 1's been having these explosive starts over on the Overlook side, forcing Inovates to hold his ground against Ventry. We'll see if that comes into fruition in the moment. Either way, Jaled's going to hit a nice spread onto 1, who will back off. Discipline, once again, will go ahead and go for the bait and switch, and this might be an opportunity. A couple of downs will be rocking through. A couple more shots for Aimboot. He will be able to get the drop on Gimmo, but he doesn't. Meanwhile, on the neutral, the fight is won for Fury 1. So, Discipline needs to win this fight, but it looks like they're all falling down. And Jacob, I think we're about to have our quickest round yet.
Yep. Barring any miracles out of Inovates, he's going to need a perfectly well-placed flash, but he's actually going for that neutral. He does have a couple seconds on the clock to at least get in the hill. He's not going to go down to Ventry, but he will go down to Jaled's cross. It actually is going to be Ventry. Doesn't even get a second in the hill long enough to go ahead and get the decap. And honestly, it would have taken 1 more second. Even if he didn't get the full decap, that would have at least allowed his teammate to get in the hill and start a decap of their own. That's wishful thinking, though, because that would have been a mountain to climb in order to come back into that game. But sometimes it just takes 1 moment. Like, you know, a lot of people talk about me with content creation. It just takes 1 clip to go viral. Then it's just work is easy from there.
You know, Jacob, I applaud you, man. I said, who stands out to you on the roster of Fury 1? And you said Ventry. And Ventry is currently 9-2. He's been playing very, very well on that
see Jaled's damage, though.
On that neutral fight. And by the way, since Ventry is actually 9-2, it's even more impressive because you would think his stats would be a bit lower since he's in the neutral position. He's fighting against Inovates, but no, not at all. He's actually chilling, and he's been winning that fight more often than not. Great instant from Tatis. Surely Discipline wins Overlook.
Flash bang out.
Yeah. Hopefully they can go ahead and take this victory, but they're just taking, look at how much time they're taking right now. Jaled gets burned up by Tatis. That's some great pressure towards the backside. Finally, they force him into a little bit of a bad move, but you know as well as I do, they need to figure out a way to make that come through a little bit quicker, but that's neither here nor there because C is going to get decapped regardless. They're not overstaying their welcome because they have the big picture in mind. They want to decap C, force a player to capture it, and try to make their efforts towards that neutral hill. But if they don't make quick efforts, what they just did is for nothing.
He said all you just did was for nothing, and it looks as to be the case, Jacob. All for nothing in the moment anyways, because Fury 1 still has the point lead and the objective, but big moves being made. Now player 2, Jaled has to try and buck up, but he can't, and he is in fact going to drop down. Meanwhile, Discipline's going to be on the neutral too, so Discipline is going for everything, forcing Fury 1 to make a desperation push onto the neutral, but Inovates and Juhvon are out of there, and they're going to go ahead and back up. I'm telling you, this escalation has just been all over the place for me. You're not seeing any setups from both rosters. You're not seeing any like flanks off the rip or any like it's just strictly I'm gonna fly at you, you're gonna fly at me, let's see who wins the gunfight. And if I win the gunfight, boom, I'm getting the hill. But that's all I'm seeing between both of these rosters.
And I like the way you pointed that out, because as much credit I was giving Fury 1, business as usual, I wanted to see them have enough gas left in the tank to close out the series in a convincing fashion. And that begins to worry me a little bit too, especially with a lot of these rounds. Discipline is looking clean as can be. There goes the elimination. A great cross from 2 members. Juhvon gets the first one. Gimmo gets the second down, but Juhvon's going to be the one cleaning that one up before the capture went in place. So it's not going to take him that long to get that capture on the neutral. So it's not going to take him that long overall to try to get this lead back in their hands.
It shouldn't. Discipline, like you said, they're just mere points away, and they're going to recover very quickly. But we spoke too soon because player 6, Juhvon, ended up dropping. That gave an opening for Ventry to hop onto the neutral. So Fury 1, even though they lose the lead momentarily by literally 1 point, they just as quickly gain it back, plus get the kills to back it up, which is going to put them in a very safe spot to close this round down. And in fact, the pressure still mounting up against Discipline, as Aimboot is going to be on the home hill of Discipline. And they're going to go ahead and break away, get onto the neutral if they potentially can, but I think the domination might sink through. No, not just yet. Juhvon does get a touch, but he's full red. He'll drop. The domination will once again start to take away, but regardless though, Fury 1, they're going to get to the 250. Tatis will stop in place. The round will be over.
I want to see this team come back from relegation and have like a top tier coach or something, because like I said, these guys as individuals are talented and nobody wants to step up. And I'm saying wants because anybody during that relegation, during the major, heck, during the remainder of this matchup here could step up and be that IGL. But I think having that coach, I think would alleviate a lot of that pressure. It would allow them to kind of control the troops and take a lot of that thinking off of the players' shoulders. They could be a little bit more in the moment, but they have to figure out a way to kind of mix and match, a way to kind of figure out this matchup here right before their very eyes, because Fury 1 up 3-1. No matter if it's looking close, they're always one step ahead. Just
all right, Gimmo going to be leading the charge, tip of the spear. Last time we saw those incense have a huge effect, and Tatis, to his credit, man, are getting some great connections with his initial incense. And so get that first blood once again. I do like the spread, though, from Aimboot, and Aimboot is actually going to get the finish as Jaled helps him out up top, but Aimboot surely dies here, and he will. Ventry has the bolt talk, and what a shot from him to connect on to Juhvon. What looked to be great for Discipline might already be crumbling right before our eyes. And what a shot again from Ventry with the bolt talk. His accuracy proving its worth. The neutral, obviously, one from Fury 1. Does Fury 1, though, pump the brakes, or do they commit? They're going to go for the commitment, but the overextension is in, and Discipline needs to win this fight.
You called them out. Maybe not Tatis individually, but you said Discipline need to win the fight. They won it on the other side. That's back-to-back fights as Tatis picks up a big double kill. You see Ventry trying to get that cheeky angle with the bolt talk. Enough damage, he could have got a headshot, but he needs to focus on the 2 players in front of him, and that's going to be Gimmo taking out Ventry. You always got to start someone. For Discipline, it starts here. Tatis gets taken out. I didn't like that. I want to see Tatis just stay alive, even if he loses the hill, because that allows Fury 1 to get into a setup a little bit quicker.
Discipline trying to retake the neutral for the time being. That's going to be with Gimmo and Inovates currently in there, but Fury 1 start making a move very shortly. Aimboot can't go anywhere. He's getting lancered from Overlook. Tatis is pushing up. He'll get that kill. It looked a bit shaky for a second, but with that elimination now opens up the door to get onto D, and this is going to force Fury 1 to go through the choke point.
Choke point is in. Last move is going to be that first player down. He quickly revived back up, though. Gimmo. Fight is being prolonged, but the cross is there. Back-to-back downs, and all 3 players get down, but it's actually going to be a full-on squad wipe. So Discipline with great team fight 1 on that neutral point of the map. They're going to go ahead and solidify themselves their second round in the game, but it's still trailed 3-2. Does that worry you at all, but they win that first one in the half?
Nah, I mean, for who? Does it worry me for Discipline or Fury 1?
Discipline still.
Oh, man. Not per se. Like, this is the thing. Again, I'm not seeing any setups from Fury 1, and I'm not seeing any setups from Discipline. So it really comes down to who's mechanically better or who is hitting their shots in any given initial or fight that we're currently seeing. In the first half, it was all F1 winning Overlook. I mean, they were just tearing through Discipline consistently, but on the second half, things are a bit different because really, it's been different since Tatis has got the incense. Like, Tatis has been connecting consistently already. Last round, he ended up picking up 2 with the, or 2 rounds ago, he picked up 2 with the instant. Then the last round, he picked up 1. This time he doesn't. I'm curious what the effect's going to be, because that opening pick, that first blood, obviously puts the numbers in your favor, but also gives you the advantage to just confidently push forward. But because that instant was missed now, the advantage goes to Fury 1, who are set up quite well. Discipline are the ones now who have to try and break free and go towards E, and I'm looking through. Fury 1 still has their instant with last move, so I think Discipline loses this fight on E. They're going to have to hold on tight. This is going to be interesting. Last move, if he can get a pick here with the instant, I mean, it's smooth sailing, but he misses his too.
Oh, that's great. No. He's just putting that to spread over the top of the cover. They can't put themselves deep in the corner anymore. They're forced to poke up, which allows their players to escape towards the top half of the map and contest this. That's going to be a couple downs going through. An unorthodox instant seemed to be the play, but it's Juhvon. Juhvon rotates a little late towards the top half of the map to stop Jaled dead in his tracks to force the rotation out from everybody else, because Fury 1, they're not going to be one of those teams that sit idly by and let Discipline just rack up the scoring line. They're going to split their numbers out. They're going to rotate so that they don't show their full hand, even if they all go back to the scene of the crime here and try to make a 3-man push.
You're going to have to push through. Tatis, the guy who's going to get that initial damage, the brute of the damage at least off the rip. Actually, not at all, because the flash will force him back. Fury 1 will have some real estate now on the Overlook fight. Inovates is going to be quite weak, but Aimboot last move can't make the move just yet. We also have another moving piece. Ventry, Jacob, is going to be on the opposite side to challenge Gimmo for the overextension. That's going to be for the home mill, making the fight for Discipline on the neutral that much more important, especially if they end up losing this, which already Inovates has dropped. You notice Ventry actually doesn't go for the full commitment just yet. Juhvon will answer back. It's chaos, but it looks as if once the dust is settling, maybe Fury 1 has the advantage, but still Jaled will fall, and it looks as if Ventry's there to pick him up. If Ventry's not there, that was a great play from Juhvon, but Fury 1, is the 2-1 enough to give them the win condition? Just barely.
Ventry, he had no ammo in his lance, so he just dropped it. I don't need this. It's just holding me back. It's just dead weight at this point. Pulls out his pistol, immediately pops some shots to get the first down. Aimboot going for that triple cap domination 2v1. He gets taken over, but there's a big advantage for Fury 1 on this side of the map. Discipline tries to push through either way. That first player goes down. Fury 1 sees that as a green light, and they go. They get the eliminations. They get the downs. They get absolutely everything, because they already have 2 hills, but they want the third either way. They want that triple cap domination as Innovate spawns up. Whether he wants this battle or not, Fury 1 will take this round, but let's see how entertaining they can make it as Innovates. He's trying. He's not giving up. He's not going down without a fight, but that's not going to matter, because Fury 1 will stand tall.
Stands tall, and now 1 round away, guys, from winning the series 3-0 and securing yet another victory in Pro League to finish off strong before the major. That's going to give them maybe some newfound confidence. Still would be tough to see for Discipline, though. We talked about them not winning a map in all of Split 2. It could become a reality here. 20,000 damage, though, for Juhvon. We talk a lot about, obviously, Discipline, but Juhvon's damage has been incredible in Control, and it seems to be incredible also here. He is the stat leader. Say what you will about Discipline, Juhvon is one of the most impressive players on this roster and continues to prove himself.
That's why I kind of said, all the jokes aside from the beginning of the series, these guys are talented individuals. They're some of the most passionate players that we do have. A lot of the players in the Pro League are some of the most passionate players in esports in general. It's just about putting it together as a team, and we've seen some of our elite teams be a part of those early iterations where they just need to figure it out, and now they're successful. So it's the early start for Discipline, and Tatis starts them off big yet again, gets 1 elimination, but gets it down onto Jaled. They're not able to clean up the down just yet. They're doing all they can, but Aimboot saves the day. First it was Ventry, now it's Aimboot. Everybody got Jaled back.
That was last move's fault, man. Throwing that instant, missing it like he did, gave an opening to Tatis, but say it ain't so. Does Fury 1 still have the advantage? Do they still win this fight? Yes, they do. Maybe not. Hold. Yo, hey, Gimmo turned around and gave the brick to Ventry and said, hey, man, hold this. And Discipline will finally win the neutral. You know, it was one mistake from last move that I thought was going to be the undoing for Fury 1. Then they started looking like they were going to win the Overlook fight and win the neutral, and then Discipline claps back with Gimmo. Well done. Good composure. Discipline, they need this round.
I definitely need this round. For obvious reasons, the Blaring 1B, they're just going to end, I do believe, the Pro League without a single win. not a series win, not a map win. So this one have the world on their shoulders, and I feel like they're feeling that pressure as Gimmo goes down to the retro. He's third and out. Juhvon is trying to put the fire down for Aimboot on the last move. One down is going to be there, but Jaled is trying to disrupt that fire from going out. He tries to end the play, but that's going to be a trade between him, last move, and Aimboot. As Inovates just gets taken out. I thought that was a World Star style play, but it's Jaled who pops him over the top. Aimboot proving his dominance, looking down at his fallen foe and saying, you thought you had a chance, but that's a snowball's chance in hell that you had.
All I know is Fury 1, hey, he can talk that stuff, but you got to finish this off. You got to stay serious. You got to stay in the moment. They do have a tremendous advantage here, but finish it off. You're one round away from doing so and finishing up your Split 2 Pro League with a W. Fury 1's already avoided relegation. This one would just make them feel more confident. Gotta say, Fury 1, like I said, the way that they started this split, they were looking impressive. They started to taper off a bit. They definitely have some work still needed as they do head into the major, but at least in this series, they have looked absolutely incredible. Time is running short, 15 seconds for Discipline, and this looks to be their final push in their Split 2 Pro League.
Fortunate, but barring any miracles, Inovates gets one. He just can't be everywhere at once. Unfortunately, Fury 1 take out Inovates. They take out Discipline and win the series 3-0 to prepare themselves for the major.
There it is, 3-0. Well done from Fury 1. We knew coming into the series they were going to, you know, have a tremendous advantage, and they didn't let that down. Ventry, stat leader, 25,000 damage, 19 kills. Incredible job on his part. Didn't see Juhvon's stats. He ended up leaving, but regardless, though, I know Juhvon had a great map number 3. But, you know, tough break when it comes to Discipline. They do, in fact, finish their final match, their final series in Pro League with a 3-0. They did not win a map. They did not win a series in all of Pro League for Split 2. But, Jacob, you're giving them credit, saying, you know what, if they stay together, they do have the workings. And you know what, I trust your judgment, Jacob. I really do. You're a guy that, you know, you taught dyslexic, you taught powers, and now all of a sudden, man, you're saying that, hey, Discipline, they got it within them to have the mechanical abilities to potentially be great as long as they can get the proper guidance.
Yeah, but there's going to be one team, and I want to go ahead and shout out that one team that's been working hard under the radar, and they just got picked up by the Wichita Wolves. That's technically Bushy's roster, and they got a beast of a roster that's going to be entering relegation and fighting for their own Pro League spot. So Discipline, you got to be a little bit more disciplined and kind of use these moments as learning lessons and build off of them.
Yeah, you definitely do. Look, Discipline, I know they were incredibly happy to be in Pro League when they got that spot. I mean, I've seen Gimmo, Juhvon, Tatis, and Inovates compete so many times in the Challenger Series. And the fact that they finally made it here, I was very pumped up. I was excited. Wow, they're here. They're going to make the most of it. But, you know, even after their first loss in Pro League, there were some struggles, you know, that they currently, that they had to work through. And clearly they didn't. For whatever that is, I don't know why, but I just didn't see enough from them. They seemed to be passive. They weren't taking fights. They weren't initiating fights outside of here on training grounds. I think they did initiate fights quite well. I was impressed with Tatis' ability to be able to, you know, throw those instants out with great accuracy. But aside from that, you know, the map number 1, map number 2, they seem passive. They seem timid. They didn't seem like they felt that they could make the move. They didn't know how to make the move. Even going back to Regency map number 1, like you go to the statue hill, you know, P4, where the inbar spawns up, and they weren't even pushing in, Jacob. They allowed 25 seconds to pass while they stayed stagnant in one location. Now, whether that's not an IGL saying we need to push up and this is how we're going to do it, I don't know what it was. I'm not into comms. I don't know Discipline inherently, but regardless, though, it just seemed like they lacked confidence and they lacked really the know-how of what they needed to do in tough situations. But if they can get that coach, like you said, Jacob, a solid backing behind them, maybe Discipline can have some success in the future.
Yeah, it just felt like a lot of the matches in general, not just this one here, they were playing to not lose instead of kind of playing to win. It felt like looking at them, they just didn't know how to make that right move. So they just wasted a lot of time, and then they just got tired of waiting. They finally made a push, and it wasn't the most teamwork oriented push kind of going out. But for these teams, man, you see they have that individual talent. You know, I can go up against these guys and I'll probably get squashed like a bug going into this situation. But, you know, I say that very loosely because me.
Because you're Jacob, of course.
Yeah, I get down at a moment's notice. But I mean, these guys, they're just some of the best of the best. And
Right.
realistically, if you kind of compare them to a name like, the retired Kenny Bounce, who's been in the game for such a long time, competing at a high level for such a long time, these guys have not had that same opportunity and that same chance. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. As much as we can say what we want during the first two maps, all jokes aside, the entertainment value, these guys are going through the motions. They're learning. And who knows down the line, possible next split when they come back, if they survive that relegation, they could have learned so much and they could be a different team. You might not even recognize them.
Yeah, maybe so. And they have some sort of fan base out there. So discipline, hold your head up high. It's it's a tough loss. It's a tough split, but biggest words of encouragement that I can give to you is don't let that get you down and don't let that stop you from your journey. If you believe in yourself, continue to push forward and drive forward, because you never know what your career can, you never know what can happen. Look at Xavi, right? Xavi went from Fire and Ice. They didn't get a single Pro League win. The only match that they won was against a challenger team that entered into the last major. And then he joins Team Queso, and look at the success that they've had, right? So things can change whether you stay with the roster or a different one. But well done from Fury 1. They take a 3-0 victory. Discipline. They take that heavy loss. It is what it is. Series 1 is down. We have 2 more to go, but our next one is going to be an important one. Pittsburgh Knights will face off against Kansas City Pioneers. I'm so excited for this one. A lot to break down, but that's going to have to wait until after the break. KCP PK after the break.